Hello, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington, USA. And we are going to be working with All Bundled Up today, making a beautiful Christmas card as we are in my 25 days of Christmas. So before we get started in making this card, I want to tell you in the description bar below, you will find all the products I've used, all the dimensions. You'll also find a link to my online store, my email address, my Facebook group. I think that's all of them. And remember to subscribe and like to the YouTube channel. I can't even talk today again. Also, I am still requesting that you let me know what you'd like to see for Christmas until October 31st. So if you want to see a certain type of card, you want to see a certain type of bag or box, ornaments, whatever it is. If there's certain stamps that you're wanting me to see, if I have it or I can borrow it from one of my friends, I will do that too. So like I said, let me know what you'd like to see for Christmas until October 31st. That's when my last day for submissions is. So I think that's everything. So let's get started with the card. All Bundled Up. It is such a cute set. And so I was so happy it got to time for Christmas and we could use it. And let me show you what we're going to be making. Oh, turn him around. We are making this lovely card. Now, just the front of it's snowflakes, and you can see a little silhouette inside here. And inside the card is our little moose, and it says it feels a lot like Christmas. And on the back, it's Merry Christmas with little snowflakes. And the reason I put the back piece in on this is because you really don't want to write on this front because people will be able to see the writing through the vellum. But if you don't mind that, then you don't need to put the back piece on. It's strictly up to you. So let's do the little bit of stamping and then we will get into the die cutting. Now, the other stamp sets I'm using is the moose, and it's feeling a lot like Christmas, came out of All Bundled Up. I am using Peaceful Deer. We're using Merry Christmas and the snowflakes. Now there's some large snowflakes in this set, but I wanted smaller snowflakes. So that's why I went with this set. And I also wanted Merry Christmas. And then we're using Snowman Magic, but we're not using any of the dies or any of the stamps. We are only using a die, and we're using this die. This is what's going to give us the snowflake and the cutout piece in our card. So let me get the pieces. This one was done in Orchid Oasis, and we're not doing Orchid Oasis today. Oh, and there is an envelope with some snowflakes stamped on it as well. Today, we're going to be working with Highland Heather. Not your typical Christmas color, but I decided to go for it. And we'll need to stamp our envelope and the back of our card. I did do some cutting on this one, or stamping. Boy, I need another sip of my coffee. Just one moment. I'm drinking my coffee out of, I can't really ship it and show you, but it says Winter Greetings. I'm trying to get in the Christmas spirit in October. Anyhow, I went ahead and colored him. I didn't figure you needed to see me color the moose. Did simple blending. We used Crumb Cake for the body and his hooves. Shaded Spruce, both of them, for the hat, Real Red for the scarf, and Balmy Blue for his eyes. I like putting blue or green eyes on my animals, and Flirty Flamingo Light for his tongue. So that's the colors I use, but you can use anything you want to color yours. So we'll set him aside, and we're going to go ahead and do this little bit of stamping here, and we're going to be stamping with Highland Heather, and I need a stamping mat. And first, we're going to go ahead and stamp Merry Christmas. I'm flipping it over because I didn't do a very good job. It wasn't very straight. That's better. And then we're going to grab the snowflakes, and I'm just putting a little grouping of snowflakes in here just to carry the snowflake theme through. like that. So that's that part. And then make sure my envelope's going the right way, and putting a few there. We'll set that off to the side. And that is all the stamping we're going to do. Also, I want to mention, I should have waited to do this online, but I didn't. When you are stamping this, make sure that you are down low, because I'll show you the card again. You want it to be hidden underneath this piece here. Okay? Now, we're going to be using, and I'll show you this now, I've got the card out. This was the flocked vellum, and this is the metallic vellum. I decided to switch it up a little bit. I know it looks holographic on here, but it's not. So we're going to use this one instead. So I do need to clean this really quick. Grab my Stampin' scrub, because we'll need to stamp some snowflakes in a few minutes. So before that, though, we need to die cut this. So you're going to make your standard card base 8.5 by 5.5 score to 4 1/4. But I did not fold this or burnish it yet, because we need to place this into. So I'm sort of lining this up on my back thing, and you need to center this as close to center as you can get it. And this time I usually use Post-its. Oop, I just moved it. But this one I'm using some washi tape. It's a little stronger, and I'm only putting the washi tape into the inside. So if it does tear the paper, it's the inside and not the outside of my card. But you want to make sure this stays in place when you die cut it. Let me grab my machine here. Now, we're using the big guy here. I know he's rather close up. I've got my camera as close as I can get it for you. So use your ever standard plate. I have a piece of paper on here. This is just, my plate has got some black flaking and stuff on it, and it's a very old plate. It's still good. I just put a piece of typing paper over it just to protect it, so it doesn't transfer to whatever I'm cutting. And then I'm just going to place this in the machine, make my sandwiches, and run it through. Now, I'll run this through. I've heard it pop, so I know it's off and gone through all the way. And then I'm going to back it back through. I like to give it a second run through. That way I know for sure. I need to lift those. And then I'm going to flip it over here really quick to make sure it did cut through everything, and it did. I haven't had one cut not do it, but I'll just put this back out of our way. So I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper to undo this, so that way all my little pieces are not. So I'm going to just gently start lifting this off like that. Now this piece that comes out of the center, which I've got the washi tape on, I'm not going to go through all of this to pull this all off right now. Make sure you clean your die out when you're done so that it's ready to go the next time. It just takes a second. This piece is such a big piece, you can get a label or something out of it. So I've saved this piece for something else. And then I'm just going to grab my pokey tool. There was really not enough to grab the brush. You could grab your brush if you want. But there really, almost everything popped out except for a few small pieces. Make sure that you hold the back side of this when you are poking them out, because they will tear off quite easily if you don't. I know this because I've already torn one. But this way, putting a piece of paper under it makes cleanup a lot easier, and I'll just dump that off and the paper's ready to go again. Now, logically you think, oh, we're going to add the vellum. Do not add the vellum until you do your embossing first. If you emboss with the vellum on there, your vellum will buckle, warp, and sometimes burn. And I'm no expert on vellum, so I actually did it that way once and never will do it again. I learned a valuable lesson. So take it from me that you don't want to do that. So I'm going to grab my stamping, my little board here again, and we're going to use Versamark going to grab my Stampin' Buddy. These are available in the mini catalog. They hadn't been available for a very long time. This is, I've had for years. But if you don't have one, it's really well worth it. I just shook it a little bit. Then we're going to take the little snowflakes. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and give this a light burnish here. And fold it over. A little more than a light burnish. Because I don't want snowflakes on the back. I only want them on the front. So you do have to hold it down a little bit. And I'm just going, you can turn it, but there's such a variety on here, I didn't really think it was that necessary. I'm just going straight around. The outside of this. Like that. I'm going to take the mat out. I'm going to grab a couple pieces of paper, and I've got one that's actually got a crease in it. And the reason I put the crease in it is so I could dump my embossing powder off real easily. If you have a the embossing tray, that's great to use too. I have one somewhere around here, but I'm old school. I learned to emboss a long, long time ago, and this is the way we've done it. And so anyhow, I'm going to hold here on one of the snowflakes so I don't get my fingers into the embossing. I'm just going around. This would be pretty in white too, or if you were doing a different, you know, the flocking, you could do gold. You know, it's whatever you like. And I think I got everybody covered. So I'm going to tip this up. Give it a little shake from the back. And this is the type of card, if there's a little speck, it really doesn't matter because they're snowflakes. It's just a micro snowflake. And then I'm going to pull that off. And then this still may have a little residue. I'm just going to put it right in my trash can. Keep my desk all clean. So, then we're going to grab my heat gun. Now, if you watched any of my other videos, I'm going to start warming this up. This is not a Stampin' Up gun. I've had this gun before Stampin' Up existed, so about 40 years. And it still works good, so I have not bought another one. So, I'm just going to start in one corner. Give a quick once over to make sure I didn't miss. And when I was also doing this, I discovered I had seen a little clinger there, and that must have been it. Just see one little thing that was still clinging on there. So this is what it looks like so far, which I think is very pretty. Now we'll go ahead and add our vellum to the card. Like I said, this is not a easy, it's not a hard card. It's very easy. It's just, got to do a few things in the right order so you don't have a mess. I'm going right alongside and putting Terra tape. Remember, don't use glue with vellum because it'll seep out and show through really bad and in places you don't want it. So I'm using Terra tape, and I'm going to pull the Terra tape off. Now you will see this if you look really hard behind the vellum, but not bad. And we're going to just, this is just like a standard size sheet. It's 4 by 5 1/4 piece. Then I'm going to grab my bone folder and just run it along where that tear and tape is to make sure, and you can see it. I'll hold this up in a second. But you want to make sure that vellum really sticks to the paper. I'm gonna hold this. Like I said, you can barely see it. It's right there. It's not much difference. But the front of the card is a wow. So I'm going to give that another little crease. So let's build the rest of the card. Like I said, it's not a very long or complicated card. I'm going to grab some glue. Just like that. And we're going to put a back on it. So there's our card. Very plain when you first look at it. You can just see the silhouette of something, and then you open it, and there's a beautiful little moose wishing you Merry Christmas. And here is the envelope that goes with it. Like I said, it's an easy card. It's beautiful, and I think it serves its purpose to show someone how much you love them. I think when they get something and it's embossed, they really appreciate it, because they know that we spent some time on it. Now this is the Orchid Oasis. I just thought you might like to see. This is the, can't even remember, the flocked, and this is versus the metallic. So thank you for joining me today. Please remember to subscribe and like on YouTube, share. All the information you need is below. Remember, I am still taking requests for Christmas things until October 31st. So, with that being said, everyone have a wonderful day. Goodbye.